I think in the end, a lot of what I wanted to do wasn't in the film, but I made up a library. Once again, they sent me a number of scenes, especially the environments, the sort of jungle, the forest, and this. And this was Frank Oz and Jim Henson were directing the film. And my task was to give them a library of choices that they could make. So there were sounds for different characters. I remember the Skeksis, I think was one, and a lot of these strange environments, Augra's observatory, all the clockwork machines that go around. That was really just going to a clock store and recording all these different clocks and playing them all together. And the ticking gets out of sync, and it makes up for a very interesting. Well, I know what it was. It was an ancient antique clock that had a little bird figure would pop up and move around on a little track. So you got all this springs and clicking, and I just made montages out of that. But I'll tell you one funny thing that happened on that film. I went to England where the film was being shot to have a meeting with Jim Henson and Frank Oz. And I arrived jet lagged, of course. I was taken directly from the airport to the studio. And it was the end of the day at the studio. And I said, well, I'm supposed to say hello to Jim Henson and Frank Oz. And they said, oh, they're in the theater watching dailies. You know, that's the film that they had just shot the day before. Now, I knew their voices only as Sesame Street characters, you know, happy, kind of, you know, carefree, interesting characters. And so I went in, they let me go into the theater, and I sat in the back, and there was nobody there except I could see a silhouette of Frank and Jim Henson watching their dailies. And they're really critical of their dailies, like, oh God, it was at 5.6, it should have been 2.8, that's out of focus. Oh, and they're being directors, you know, they're critiquing their work, they're seeing what they didn't get, and they sound like Burtt and Ernie. That was the problem. I think that we should shoot this tomorrow. No, I don't know. Yeah, I think you know, and I just couldn't keep it. I just couldn't keep a straight face because Burtt and Ernie were making a movie, and I was part of it. Anyways, that was they were very. I don't know if this will tell you that they were extremely talented. I knew Frank Oz better because he was Yoda, and you know, had many encounters with him as we did Yoda over the years. So that was that.